we've had Luke's HZ UTE. So over the last 2 years, he's been chipping away at this UTE. It came to me with probably a 90% finished, in the hope to finish it for Summernats, which is only a couple of weeks away or a week away now. So he's transformed the car from like a paddock find rusty old UTE to what it is now. We're going to take you through the stages along the way of what he's done and what we've had to do to get it to the stage it's at now. And we'll talk with Luke about what he's had to do to get it to this stage as well. So before it came to me, obviously he's transformed or put an LS1 into it out of a donor car. So if you want to tell us about what you had to do and where you get it.
Yeah, so pretty much I had a WH Statesman that had a bit of a rough body, so I kept the motor out of it, part of the rest out, kept the motor. It was a running car, so pretty much just cleaned up the heads, put a cam in it, oil pump, timing chain, all the basic sort of stuff that you do with an LS1. It has a rebuilt turbo 350 with a 3.5 converter, 9-inch diff, tail shaft to suit. Everything in the car has been redone, bush-wise, suspension-wise, everything is new, underneath is new. The car was actually purchased from a wrecking yard here in South Australia, Nuriupta. And I just had a vision of something crusty to cruise around at Summernats. So this year we'll be at Summernats, or next year, cruise around in this thing.
So it's a little bit of a Summernats special. The car was similar to how it looks now, appearance on the outside, but like he's mentioned, everything on the inside from the engine bay, underneath, it's all been rebuilt. So I guess you could say it's one of those things, never judge a book by its cover, and on the outside it's, you know, not too fussy or shiny paint. So it's just something you can get in and have some fun. So since dropping it off, we've obviously gone through and found all the gremlins which we thought would be, I guess, easy, that never are when you're building a car like this. You start connecting the dots and start working out what's going to work and what's not. So we started off making an exhaust, so it all snowballed from there. We were going to do a twin system, 3-inch dumped at the diff, and then obviously we couldn't use the factory fuel tank because it's on the driver's side behind the cabin, and then you can't run the twin system. So from there it all snowballed. We ended up going to a Raceworks fuel cell up the back. It's a 75 litre one with just like a Holly Blue style fuel pump. And yeah, it all snowballed from there. Along the way, trying to just get it, you know, running on 8 cylinders to getting oil pressure, it wasn't all as easy as it seemed. So I guess this is more or less showing people that, you know, when you go to build a car, it's not just, you know, as easy as, you know, putting something in the car, plugging it in and off you go. Everyone has troubles, you don't always hear about them, but yeah, we spent 2 days diagnosing the engine, getting it running on 8. I think we had a coil looms on both sides that were just upside down, which is easy done. And then once we got it running on 8 cylinders, we couldn't get oil pressure, so we started pulling the engine apart. Brett, the friend of ours, ended up bringing around like an engine priming system so we could prime the oil, and we still couldn't get oil pressure. So we ended up finding that the oil pump, where it was spaced, we run a double row, Luke's put a double row timing chain in it, and we've had to space the oil pump out. So one of the gaskets was upside down there, and it just led to more issues that we found along the way. But if we didn't find them, then, you know, we wouldn't have even known that the oil pump light was leaking.
Pretty much, yeah.
We pulled the timing cover off. I'll throw in a video so you can see that the oil pump, brand new out of the box, was leaking between the mating surfaces.
Yeah, so pissing out of the plate.
None of us would have known that it was like that if we didn't have the timing cover off and try it. Yeah, it's been blinged up a little bit as well, so he's put a carby on top with the Victor Junior, some Aeroflow billet rock covers, and he's had Nick from Race Chrome ceramic coat all the pipes, and it's turned out pretty good. So, you know, from the outside it's a bit unsuspecting, and then when you open the bonnet, it's pretty neat. It's turned out really well. It's got the little like RAA badge accent, so
and everything on this is budget. Like, there's nothing fancy in this car. It's all marketplace specials and
done on a budget.
Just
anyone
to get
can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So it is as you see it. Like, it really is a Summernats special. It packs probably between 450 to 500 horsepower with a 3-speed auto, a converter, and a mini spool. I think it's going to be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So. Then moving back after the cabin, after the engine bay, moving towards the cabin, you've spent a lot of time inside there as well, you were saying?
Yeah, so lucky enough it had a good bench seat somehow, don't know how, but that was pretty mint. It's got new door trims on it and a new vinyl floor. Apart from that, pretty standard. It just has an oil gauge and water temp gauge. And yeah, everything's just been cleaned up and left looking kind of standard. And with a B&M shifter.
Which is pretty much the look from when you bought the car. You had a vision of what it would look like when it was finished, and how close is to that, how you pictured it.
Yeah. Body wise, I had a bit of rust in the floor, so I put a new floor pan in it. Apart from that, it does have rust in the quarters, and I haven't touched it yet. I'm going to leave it how it is, but eventually probably will get around to fixing it. I don't want to paint this car or anything, I just want to leave it as it is.
Yeah, because obviously you've got some other cars that are neat and on the outside where you're always worried about people leaning on them or having them present well, whereas this car's a little bit of the opposite.
So yeah, just something to cruise around Summernats and events, and not really care about people leaning on it, getting it scratched or getting it covered in, rubber and all that sort of stuff.
Then once we got the car up and running, we started making oil pressure and everything was running on 8 cylinders. We started to develop a bit of a noise issue where we could hear like it was knocking, but we thought, knowing that the engine had come out of a donor car that was running all sweet, I resorted to Luke and he'd come across a bit of an issue where he thought the sump where it fitted up was a bit of an issue, and it led to obviously the windage tray. And
yeah, being an aftermarket sump, it's pretty close to the windage tray, and I've probably not spaced it enough, and it was just nicking it. So we then had to pull the motor back out, and we're about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, week from Summernats. So motor all had to come back out, take the sump off, space it all correctly, put it back in, and now we're here.
"5 days into getting an LS going."
Your hose is on the piss.
It's a bit smashed in at the front, that's all. Flick the key. And the other switch. So yeah, the windage tray was actually banging on the sump, which made it sound like it had done a bearing and it was knocking pretty bad. You could hear it in the video and it sounded pretty savage. But now we just ended up removing the windage tray because at the moment it's got one in the sump, so we're not racing the car or tearing it around, so it'll be no problems. And now that the crank's not hitting that, it's nice and sound. The engine actually sounds pretty good, and it's all pretty much ready to go. So the car can go back to Luke now. It's only like 2 days before Christmas, so he'll finish off the last odds and ends, clean it up, and we're pretty much ready to go to Summernats and just go have some fun, hopefully cut some laps and burn through fuel, and that's all we really have to spend money on, maybe some tyres. So you might have to stock up on some 14-inch tyres and hopefully just go have some fun and let our hair down and enjoy the build that he's spent the last year chipping away at. Well, thanks for tuning in and checking out this build. It's been a bit of a ride for Luke along the way, but we'll see you all. If we don't see you at Summernats, we'll see you at the next one, and thanks for tuning in. Cheers.